All right, let's take the last step. Let's update to 1.21.5. Alright, friends, back and once more, and in this tutorial we're going to be updating our fabric project from 1.21.4 to 1.21.5. But this, of course, once again, we're going to go in here and we will actually go to the develop fabric version to 1.21.5 and take those versions right here. There we go. That's going to be this one. And also the fabric version is 1.0 so 5 more versions again. Damn, that is pretty crazy. Let's reload those Gradle changes. Of course, once again, under Gradle, you can also go reload all Gradle projects. This one time, once again, takes a couple of seconds up to a minute or so, depending on all sorts of different things. In the description below, I will also link the summary for 1.21.5 changes. There are not that many changes, luckily. I'm pretty sure that we will get through this a little bit quicker than specifically the 0.3 update video. That's definitely the longest, but there we go. Let's take a look. I believe we start right here inside of this where the Kaupenjoe actually changes, but we're actually going to go through from top to bottom again, and I think that we're going to actually have to start in one of the block classes. There we go. So this is the onState replaced method has been removed indeed. So we can no longer replace. So basically this is the method that obviously drops things from our block entities. So this would be either the growth chamber or the pedestal. So both of those actually now gone because that is now handled inside of the block entity itself. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the block entity, and you can see there's a couple of things here as well. But this is now handled here, and that is now called the onBlock replaced method. We're going to literally just copy this over so you can see onBlock replaced. So that is now handled in the block entity itself. And for the NBTs, you might say, oh no, this is going to be crazy. Absolutely not. The NBTs here are now just optionals. So we need to call the .get method over here, right here. There we go. So when you use nbt.get integer or something like that, then if I hover over this, you can see we're actually getting an optional of integer instead of an integer itself. So that's just one of the things that changed here. And the same thing in the pedestal block entity, where we're also going to add the onReplaced over here so that it actually, well, spawns the entire inventory over here. That is quite important. That's going to be that. And I think, yes, in the renderer, we have a small change too. And that is going to be that this has now changed to item display context.gui. And then the override over here has another thing, and that is the vec 3D, which apparently is going to be the camera position. This is the camera pause. At least that's what I've written in my notes. We can also take a look at the method over here. It is indeed the camera position. Can you now change the camera position with the render method? That would be very interesting. But regardless, that is what we need to add here. Control-Alt-O to delete all of the imports that are no longer active. And there we go. I think that is a big one. Then we go to the modblocks class, because the leaves block now is an abstract class, meaning we need, or rather it has changed. We need a, well, number one, it's an abstract class. Number two, it has now changed to an untinted particle leaves block and a tinted particle leaves block. In this case, we're going to make an untinted particle leaves block. I'm pretty sure untinted particle leaves block. The first parameter being the chance. This is going to be like a small chance. So you want to go for something like 1% or 2%, something like that. Then the particle effect of the leaves. So what we can say is just particle types dot, let's say, for example, cherry leaves. And then now cherry leaves are going to come down from our driftwood leaves. Yeah, so that fixes the modblocks class, and components should be all fine. Data gen should be fine, I'm pretty sure. Oh, there is a couple of things over here. The register log method, let me double check this because I'm not actually 100% sure what that has changed into right here. Yes, okay, so this is now the create log texture pool method. Not the sub, but the log texture pool. There we go. The variant block supplier no longer exists. And it is now, okay, this has changed a little bit. So the lamp over here, because I don't know why actually, but it just changed. So it now looks kind of like this. It's a little more complicated because we now have a weighted variant of pool variant builders. I don't know, okay? It just has changed. You can also take a look at vanilla there, and you will find that this is basically the exact same way that it is done for the redstone lamp. Down here, we can no longer cast these to armor items because, you might find this crazy, but it is true, armor items no longer exist. What? Yes, they are gone, a thing of the past. And the rest in this particular method is, here we now have something else that is the item model generator helmet trim ID prefix, because they finally were like, oh, how about we actually make a an actual identifier out of this instead of just having a string that we're passing in there. It makes a lot of sense. You know, could have thought about that before, but you know, I mean, I'm not even gonna say anything else. There you go, all of them changed, and up here there's another thing. Oh, that's the armor item, so Control-Alt-O to remove the imports, and that has that one fixed as well. A recipe provider is fine, except for one thing, that's the registry key right here. Yes, I'm pretty sure we can fix this. Basically, we want to add the mod trim pattern right here, and then have the registry key, so it's nothing too crazy. I think this might not work, but listen, a couple of things are probably not going to work. It simply is what it is at this point in time. Effects are fine. Enchantments, I'm pretty sure, are also fine. At least the code is fine. I'm unsure if they work entirely. Entities, I think the entities are also good. I think we're, oh, Mantis model. Wait a second. There's one thing. There's a couple of things. Oh, yes. I think that it is the pivot method has changed its name. Of course. How can I forget? The pivot method is now called something else, and that is rotation. So we want to basically just Control R on the pivot and replace all. And then there's another thing that has changed. That's down here. And that is apparently the, oh, that's the names of these fields. This is now the relative head yaw. This is now the limb swing animation progress. And this is the limb swing amplitude. Well, there you go, I guess. That fixes that. There's nothing else in any of the other ones, though. That is pretty nice. This model also needs to change the rotation. There's only one. That's awesome. And that is going to be fine as well. In the entities themselves, there's one change that's going to be the get here in the data variant, because nbt.getInt, or yeah, getInt is an optional. So we need to call the get method. And I believe that should be that for the entities. Anything in the entity registration? Nothing. Items, chisel item. We have an issue in the append tooltip method because that has changed method structure. So what we'll find here is, you can see we are going from context from a list to a context to a display component to a consumer. And now instead of tooltip.add, we have to call consumer.accept. So that's basically the big change right here. The rest should stay pretty much the same, and it should still work. Here we're going to have context, then display context, the display context, and then here we have the text consumer, and that's going to be fine. Post hit, I actually don't even know. Apparently it no longer returns a Boolean. What does it return? It doesn't return anything. No, we can literally just get rid of this. Post hit now is a void, apparently. Well, there you go. Apparently this is now a void. So there you go. We no longer need a return, and there we have it. All right, that is going to be that. Hammer item, yes, indeed, because mining tool item no longer exists either. Indeed, this is now a simple freaking item. And inside of here, what we're going to do is we will simply call the settings.tool and then pass in the material and all of the rest over here, and as well as the currently disable blocking for 3 seconds, because I think that makes a lot of sense. We'll see this once more in the mod items class in just a second. And of course, our lovely mod armor item class where, yeah, it's no longer an armor item. So this is now an item, and it also doesn't take in any type over here. So it is now just this. It is just settings right here. Pretty freaking insane. And the inventory tick method takes in, instead of a int slot and selected, it now takes in a at nullable of equipment slot, not equipment type, equipment slot, called slot. And then this is now a server world instead. Now, I do believe that there is going to be an issue with something over here. I'm pretty sure that the mod armor item still doesn't properly work. Listen, I just don't even know at this point. To get now all of the different things over here, so has full suit of armor on, it now looks kind of like this. You basically want to get the well, the different things from the equipment slot, from the feet, from the legs, from the chest, from the head right here, like this. Then, because we can no longer cast this to an armor item, we basically have to delete the first check and just get the equipable slots over here. So basically, instead of boots, leggings, and things like that, or I guess we can literally just do this and also add those, right? This is going to be the chest plate right here. And that's sort of all I've got. Those are the changes that I was able to make. Like I said, I'm not 100% sure if this works. There's so many changes. And also, I'm doing this for Fabric, for NeoForge, and then for Forge, we only had the 0.3 update, but like I can't even keep this straight in my head anymore. There's too many different things, okay? Once we go back, and once we're in 122, I'm hoping that it's going to be a little bit more streamlined, okay? Armor materials have not changed. Food components have not changed. Item group has not changed. Tool materials have not changed. Then the mod items, of course. So let's first of all start here. This is once again the different method signature. Nothing too crazy, so we can just do that. Text consumer.accept right here. It's going to be context, and then the display context, and then the text consumer. Easy enough. Nothing too crazy. Now, sword item. No longer this is now an item. Pickaxe item. No longer this is now an item. And what we need to do here is you need to take these settings, put them on at that front over here, and call the dot. Here, you want to call the dot sword method. Yes. I have no idea. Okay, I don't know. I don't know what they were thinking. I don't know what they were thinking before. I don't know what they're thinking now. I don't know what they're thinking at all. Because here we have to call the pickaxe method on the item settings. Because those will then go in here and they will go into the tools, and they will say, this is a tool now, right? And then they will add, as you can see, like the tool settings, and that is going to then add a component of type tool. I have no freaking idea. I know nothing. It's very strange. In the hammer, we can either leave it like this, or if we, didn't do the tool inside of the hammer, I think that this actually should be a pickaxe, if I'm absolutely honest with you. This should probably be a pickaxe. Which actually then doesn't even need the pickaxe mineable, because that is going to be done in here. Yeah, I think that that's fair. I think that's honestly fair. This should be a pickaxe instead. And then you could also do it here or there. It's fine. We're going to be okay with that. Mod armor item takes in the only settings now. It only takes in settings here. That's going to be interesting. And that is going to be that. That's going to be fine. The helmet, the armor items here all turn into items instead. And of course, that is going to have an issue, because here, same thing. We have setting. And then what do we have exactly? We have setting.armor. It is now setting.armor with the, I don't even know at this point. So setting.armor is going to have the mod armor materials pink garnet armor material. And then here is obviously the equipment type of helmet. And the same thing happens for all of the rest over here, apparently with no longer even needing the max damage, I'm pretty sure. I think that that's all done automatically. This is once again armor. So we just put that on in there. Bam, bam, bam. And of course, 2 more times right here. Of course, making sure that we put this in the correct order right here. There you go. More armor. And we only need that. So that's going to be fine. There we go. And finally here as well. Boots. These boots are made for walking. Animal armor also no longer works. It is now an item. And of course, we no longer need to say that this is equestrian. No, what we need to do is we need to call the horse armor method, passing in the pink garnet armor material. And that's that. I don't know why those changes exist. Are they going to change again on 1.21.6 or 122 when it comes out? Who knows? Am I just a little bit annoyed by all these changes? Absolutely not. I would never be annoyed. What would you even suggest such a thing? All right, I think that this is probably going to be everything that we're going to need. The trims have changed as well, again, because of course, I mean, why wouldn't they? That would be ridiculous. What do you mean the trims are just going to keep staying the same way? In the trim material, the first parameter is going to be an armor trim asset of a bismuth here in this case. Nope, that's not even true. It's pink_garnet. But there you go, and then a comma, and then I'm pretty sure that that's literally all we need to change here. And in the trim pattern, I don't even know if something changed. Oh, and of course something changed. Well, I think it's something easy. We no longer need the item. Yep, we no longer need the item. There you go. I don't know. I genuinely do not know anymore, okay? But there's something else. There is another, and that is the villagers. Because here the name, oh boy, what is the name? I am Steve. Nope, I am the Kaupenjoe, and I'm pretty sure that this is literally going to be the actual name showing up inside of the GUI inventory of the custom villager. Although I'm not 100% sure. And then this one right here, the Kaupenjoe, literally just wants you to do an .id. No, it does not. Is this not fixable? I thought it was fixable, to be honest with you, but it might not have been. Oh, no. It just wants a key. Wait. It just wants a key. And we actually need to make the key, I'm pretty sure. Yes, we're just going to we're going to have to make a key. So we're going to make a registry key of villager profession. We're going to call this the Kaupenjoe key, which is equal to a registry key of villager profession. We've seen this previously. I am pretty sure that every time I see a registry key made, I am pretty sure that this points to the fact that at some point, this stuff is going to be done via data gen. Although I thought that villagers could already be added via data gen. It might also be that it's just the trades, but I'm not quite sure. Lastly, down here in the Wandering Trader one, this is now the add all. No. It's different. It now doesn't take in the first parameter. It's now just factories, and then it is an add all. And now the add all actually has as its first parameter an identifier and then this entity stuff. So this is an identifier.of tutorialmod.modid, tutorialmod, well, .modid, there you go. And then of course a name. I'm gonna call this diamonds for pink garnet. I don't even know if you need this name, but like it's gonna be fine, right? I'm pretty sure that it has to be a different name. And then this is going to be an identifier.of, obviously, not just tutorialmod.modid. That would be a bit crazy. This is the garnet specter. No, tomahawk, actually. Garnet tomahawk. And funnily enough, this is not even diamonds. This is actually an emerald. An emerald for a chisel. But like, fair enough, right? I mean, I think that it makes sense, right? So there you go. Emerald for chisel, garnet, tomahawk. There you go, and there you go. Now, don't quote me on this, but I think it might be the case that you have to, and we can, of course, double check this in the Minecraft assets. You have to move the equipment to the actual tutorial mod folder over here. So it now should be that the equipment, the JSON file right here, should be here. Although I still think that there is going to be an issue with the armor and how it displays. Even though it is exactly the same, we will have to work through that when we get to the actual proper, like 121.6, or if it's 122 version. But there you go. Like I said, I will also still link to you down below the update, the blog basically, with a couple of the update stuff that can always be pretty useful. So let's rerun data gen over here, because obviously I think some things changed, I guess. Oh, there you go. Add particle. Of course. I'm pretty sure this should be trivial. I love how it's the magic block, like the one block that I didn't open, where I was like, oh, it's the magic block, nothing happens. Well, this is just add particle client, basically now notifying with the name of the method that it is a client adding it, or it's added as the client. Pretty neat, actually. And of course, the append tooltip method no longer exists for the for blocks, so that we would need to do this manually in the block, and we're not going to do that for the time being. So we'll just have the magic block, not have anything there. The animations translate has now simply changed to move origin. So why that is the case, no one quite knows, but because translation is actually the name of what we do there. But fair enough. Okay, we're moving the origin, because, you know, sometimes we have to do that. Just like EA did, I guess. Okay, that's such a stupid joke. Whatever. We have 3 new written JSON files. I don't know which ones they were, but there's probably something important in there. And then Minecraft client, let that run through. And I mean, I guess let's see if it works. And of course it works. Let's jump into the game and actually see what the frick is going on. And what is going on is that mostly things work. Apparently the pedestal no longer has a texture for a very interesting reason, I guess. We'll take a look at that in just a second. Sticks still work, and we still have mostly all of the textures available to us. We can still do most of all of the things, even our custom. Oh my, okay, that's probably something broken there. Okay, that's not. This looks creepier than it was before. I'm not quite sure. Well, we can also still do this. That's pretty neat. And the hammer also still works. I'm pretty sure. There we go. It still works. I absolutely love that thing still does it. That's just awesome. That's just really cool. But yeah, that is most of the things. This one I'm not. I genuinely don't. I genuinely don't know what that's about. Let's first of all take a look at the pedestal, and then maybe we take a look at the model again. Just 1 second. Yeah, I'm not quite sure. This is sometimes one of the real issues with data gen when you have a custom model file. This is where, obviously, because the pedestal is super simple, genuinely what I would suggest is we just are going to do the following. Because it was just generated over here, the items file right here. Where is it? Pedestal. We can just like copy this over, and we just put it right here, and there you go. That's all. Hey, look at this. We have this made manually. We just have to make it manually, guys. There we go. All right, there it is. And hell is finally over, but just, I mean, the quote, how does the quote go? When you're in hell, keep going, right? So we're going to be fine. We'll be interested in, I'll be interested in what the next version is going to be. If it's 121.6, it's probably going to be a small series. I don't know if I'm going to make an update video again, because I'm kind of, I don't know, I'm tapped out, guys. Like, genuinely, it's just the updates have been absolutely horrible, as you have seen in the previous videos, if you've just seen the length of the videos. And yeah, that's gonna be the update for 1.21.5. Let's see where the journey leads. Although the series right now, the 121 series, is gonna be completed with that. Like I said, if it's 121.6 that comes out next, we'll do probably a short series. If it's 122, then we'll probably do a proper longer series, as well as some new courses. But with that, that's going to be it for this tutorial right here. I still hope you found this useful and you learned something new. And what comes next, no one knows. Hope to still see you there. So, yeah.